Mystery recalled presenting Avatar. The story begins with a floating spaceship in a universe. It was the time of 2154. It was the time when humans of the Earth destroyed all the natural resources found on the Earth. Therefore, in search of new resources, humans are traveling to other planets. The name of the planet was Pandora. Jake was the first character we see when the movie starts for us. He was traveling through space in a pod, which was a space pod that traveled from space to space. He was in that sleeping chamber for the last 6 years. He said that he was not part of this project, but his brother was part of this project. But before the project starts, some thieves shot him in demand for money. However, Jack said that my brothers and my DNA have been similar, therefore I was invited to take part in this project in place of my brother because the company has invested a lot of money in my brother. I am the type of army who had lost both legs in fights. After that, they arrived in Pandora where large robots has been seen. Also, there were humans on every side who puts masks on their faces and hold a gun in their hands. On Earth they were army, but here they work for money. The environment is not suitable for humans here, which means humans cannot inhale air directly here. Now, Jake went to the science lab, and he saw big clones, but these were the clones of people who lived here, which were made by the DNA of people of Earth and people of Pandora. The people of this planet are called Gnostics. This is one type of science experiment, where the human's brain fully controls these clones. For Jack's brother's clone has been showing, which is now Jack's clone. These clones are called Avatar. Therefore, the whole experiment is named as Avatar. Jack also meets Dr. Grace, who is the head of the Avatar program, but she needs his brother, but not him, but his brother was not alive. She does not like this, therefore she goes to Parker. Parker is the head of the whole program. She tells him that she does not need an army, but she needs scientists. But Parker said that we are lucky, so we can match his brother's DNA with his DNA. And now I will send him with you as a security officer. If we look like the people of this planet, we can make strong good friendships with them soon, but our friendship is being made worse day by day. Grace said that if you shoot them again, the relationship will become worse. Parker showed her a stone named unobtainium. He said that this stone is in large amounts under the ground of this planet and has a value of more than 1 million for a kilo, so we are here due to this unobtainium. The expenditure of this project has come from this stone. Therefore, for those who come our way, we should stop them. After this, we see Jack in the sleeping chamber. After going to the sleeping chamber, the human goes into a deep sleep and his clone, which is made from his DNA, is started to be active. It means the body of a human fall asleep, but their clone starts to act. After the clone is active, Jack becomes happy because his both legs are fine. But the doctor orders him not to stand up, but he ignores them and goes outside. After going outside, he runs fast. He is in full surprise like a dream because he has no legs and now both legs are fine to walk. Here, he meets Dr. Grace. She asked him what he feels. Jack said that I cannot explain. Now it becomes dark and all the clones go to sleep. As the clones go to sleep, Jack wake up. Now another day, Jack, Grace, Norms, and their other friends go to the jungle. Grace takes the sample of plants and trees. Meanwhile, Jack goes to the forest and sees many beautiful plants. Behind him, very dangerous animals have arrived. Grace said to Jack, run as fast as you can. That animal follows Jack and then a waterfall comes there. Jack jumped into the waterfall and saved his life. But he's separated from his friends. Now Jack goes here and there in that forest, but he does not know where to go. Suddenly we see a girl in the tree. Her name was Neytiri, she was part of the people from this planet. As she was planning to kill him with her arrow, there arrived a strange thing and sit near the tip of that arrow, therefore, she stops to kill him. After going here and there, the night falls. Suddenly, the dangerous dogs from this planet arrived there and attacked him together. Jack tries to avoid them, but he cannot do anything with them because they were in huge numbers. At the same time, that girl Neytiri came there and killed those dogs, and drive away. Jack followed her and said, "I want to learn from you." Neytiri said that people from the sky cannot be taught. At the same time, that strange flower, the seeds of Ava, reappear there and covered the whole body of Jack. By seeing this, Neytiri worried. Jack asked her, "What are they?" Neytiri replies that, "Very pure spirits." When the seeds drift off, she relents and tells him to come with her. As Jake attempts to stay aware of her, he is felled by a biolo tossed by a watch of Omatakean fighters. Their chief is Tsute, next in line to the privileged position, and the man Neytiri is supposed to wed. Neri prevent them from hurting Jake by telling them there has been a sign from Iwa. Tsute advises his men to bring him along to Tashik and Iwa. Jake is introduced to Neytiri's folks, Itukin and Nemoat, who are the ruler and sovereign of the clan, individually. Jake lets the seniors know that he is a champion, fantasy walker, and his goal is to gain from them. Nemoat pricks Jake's chest and tastes his blood, proclaiming it is the desire of Iwa for him to live with the Omatakea, and for Neytiri, but hesitantly, to be his educator in their ways and customs. After a custom social occasion, Jake is brought to his bed, a leaf high up in the home tree that circles him like a case. As he nods off, human Jake is restored. In the initial segment of the day, Neytiri mixes to falling trees, then the presence of farm vehicles. At their remote spot, Jake is getting ready to associate with his image, and when he finally re-establishes, Jake moves onto one of the farm vehicles and endeavors to stop it, at last pounding its camera system and drawing some gunfire. Other Na6 champions appear, while the colonel, assessing films back at the base, sees Jake in his image structure as the person who endeavored to stop their fundamental objective. The farm trucks continue with their action, getting out the blessed ground. At Home Tree, the Na6 need war. Out of the blue, both Magnificence and Jake's images fall negligent as the associations among them and their human designs are unexpectedly broken by the goated colonel, who catches Jake for endeavoring to stop the farm trucks. The naval force dispatches gas canisters into Home Tree and the incorporating area. As the battle rages, most of the weaponry is centered around at the root development of Home Tree. Neytiri's father Itukin is killed by a colossal piece of shrapnel. His last solicitation is for Neytiri to take his sacred vow and anticipate drive of their family. Trudy appears at the cell which holds Jake, Ease, and Norm. She dupes their guard by saying she accepts nothing ought to do with them, just to take out the gatekeeper a second after the fact. As they intend to get away from the base, Style is shot and harmed by the colonel. The gathering flies Trudy's boat to the far-off lab in the floating mountains, and they take a unit to another spot in the forest. Jake returns to his image body. The sure social gathering with the Omatakea isn't to be, from the get-go. Jake is an untouchable, an outcast. So he goes with areas of strength for he comprehends that to recover the trust of the Na6, he wants to take things to a more raised level. He brings his Banshee and leaves to find the Torek. His technique is fundamental anyway, can without a very remarkable stretch result in death. Jake acknowledges that the Torek never looks for an attack above himself, and thusly he can be pushed toward that way. Jake jumps off his Banshee and onto the back of the Torek. We next see him show up riding the Torek at the Tree of Spirits in an Omatakean administration. Jake has really invigorated with the Torek. The Omatakea are incapacitated to see their most imperative legend work out true to form. Jake drop and makes his way through the crowd of Na6, who, awed, part before him. Exactly when he shows up at Neytiri, each holds out an arm to the following, and she says, "I see you." Tsute, who is at present faction pioneer, gives up Jake's new position of Torek Matto. He concurs Jake much respect. Jake convinces Emoat to help Ease, who is failing horrendously. Emoat begins the game plans, which incorporate getting class human and image bodies set up at the Tree of Spirits. The idea is to move Styles' attention to her image forever. Emoat gets the news out that Polish ought to go through the Eye of Iwa, and that the unbelievable mother could choose to let her pass through to her image self, or she could choose to have Magnificent stay with her. The custom isn't productive, but before she fails miserably, Ease tells Jake that she has seen Iwa. Jake, squashed and rankled, talks as Torek Matto and says this present time is the perfect open door to establish a connection with the sky people, that this is the Na-6, an area. However, to do thusly, they at first ought to go to all of the Na-6 families to demand that they come and fight as one. Tsute will be the Omatikayan's new gathering trailblazer and will similarly help with activating various groups to fight with them. Jake, riding the Torek, is pursued and shot at by Colonel Querich's Dragonfly transport. Trudy appears and begins taking shots at the Colonel's organization transport. Neytiri's Banshee is obliterated and killed. Norm's image is mortally harmed and he quickly returns to his human design. Tsute takes on the bomb ship and is killed in the undertaking. Trudy passes on when her boat is crushed in a hail of gunfire from Querich's Dragonfly. Jake advises Neytiri through communicator to pull out from the fight. Out of the blue, through what's left of the enveloping boondocks, an army of Titanotheres, Pandora's seriously safeguarded dinosaur-like animals, appears and attracts the Earth powers. They quickly ruin to infantry and officials in AMP suits. Excited that Iwa has heard Jake's request for help, Neytiri rejoins the fight with various other of Pandora's species behind her. When a Thanator appears adjoining, it bows to her unobtrusively. Before the Colonel gets a chance to kill Neytiri, Jake appears in his image. The two participate in fight, the Colonel in his AMP suit and Jake as his image, equipped only with a piece of line. Jake pulverizes the suit's plastic shade, the Colonel pops it off, wears a breathing cloak, and, before he moves off toward the plans that house the cases, asks Jake how it feels to have sold out his race. "You accept you're one of them?" "Time to stir," he affronts, as he squashes into the adaptable lab, looking for Jake's case, objective on crushing it in human Jake. The battle resumes. Jake is grabbed by an arm of the AMP suit and swings from his line before the Colonel. Meanwhile, Neytiri has almost freed herself. The Colonel right now attracts Jake closer to him and pursues his sharp edge, proposing to finish Jake by slitting his jugular. All of a sudden, Neytiri shoots a bolt at the Colonel, spearing him through the point of convergence of his chest. The Colonel, faltering, can't continue with his attack on Jake. Neytiri's resulting bolt holds up right near the first. It secures the Colonel the AMP suit to the ground. Anyway, much mischief has been done to the lab, which is spilling in the planet's harmful climate. Human Jake is cognizant yet encountering issues both breathing and endeavoring to get a shroud on. Neytiri appears and helps Jake on with his cloak. As per supporting human Jake, I see you. It's the point at which they initially have seen each other eye to eye. Back at Punishment's entrance, most of the extra individuals are being strolled into a transport to be sent back to Earth. Regardless, a restricted small bunch Earth people, similar to Norm and Dr. Patel, are free to stay on Pandora. Jake shuts down in his last video log, where we find that he has chosen to move his attention to his image for good. In a help-like ease, Jake goes through the Eye of Iwa, moreover, stirs in his image with Neytiri taking care of him.